Hey everyone, Leo Kelly G, and about 5 years ago, I almost gave up playing guitar for good. I was living in Berlin on my year abroad, and the combination of cheap accommodation and a flexible university schedule meant that I had a lot of free time to sit down and really hone my craft on the guitar. I'd grown up idolizing players like Tommy Emmanuel and Eric Clapton, hearing of their legendary practice sessions of over 16 hours a day. And so I figured if I could just practice as much as they did, I could be as good as them. I played for 8 hours a day for the first 2 days and went to bed feeling motivated and ready to get up and do it all over again. But then I started to run out of steam. I played for 4 hours a day for the next week and 2 hours a day for the week after that. After which point I took a break from guitar because I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. The problem was that I was playing things that really had no relevance to the kind of music that I was interested in and I wanted to play. Combined with the fact that I was simply trying to play for 8 hours a day, regardless of whether I was enjoying myself or not. I was also spending a lot of time just playing through stuff that I could already do, and so I wasn't really feeling like I was progressing at all. Fortunately, after about a month or so, I picked up the guitar and fell in love with it all over again. But I promised myself never to let practice get me down like it did in those 2 weeks and 3 days. Today, I want to talk about something that's really close to my heart, not just for guitarists, but for musicians in general, and that's practicing. I think this is a really important topic because practice is a loaded word that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. For some, practice is sitting in a room for 8 hours a day, practicing scales and arpeggios until your fingers get sore. For others, it's transcribing solos, learning songs, or improvising over backing tracks until the wee small hours of the morning. Some people have a really strict regiment of exactly what to do on which day, and some people like something that's a bit more free and loose. For me, all of these approaches are completely valid, and it's not my job to sit here and tell you that there's a right or wrong way to practice. What I would like to share with you, however, are 4 things to think about when you sit down to pick up your instrument so that you not only feel like you're getting the most out of your practice, but that you leave feeling good and motivated to want to come back and practice again the next time. Because ultimately, that's the most important thing. Let's get into it. Before we start, however, about half the people who watch these videos are not subscribed. My goal with this channel is to help you along your musical journey to becoming the best musician you can be. And so if you or if anyone you know is stuck in a rut with practicing and are really struggling with your instrument at the moment, it would mean the world if you could give this video a like and a comment and subscribe to the channel, as it helps the YouTube algorithm push this video in front of more people just like you so it can help them too. Number 1. Get inspired. The first time I felt truly inspired to pick up the guitar, I was 15 years old. I've been playing for about 6 months when I stumbled across John Mayer's Live in LA performance of Neon on YouTube. I can still vividly remember my first reaction to the video, which was to lean back on my chair, put my hands on my head, and just burst out laughing because I couldn't believe anyone could play a guitar that well. I can also remember my second reaction, which was, I have to learn to play that song. And for the next month, that was all I was interested in learning how to play. After that, it was Drifting by Andy McKee, then I Need Something by Newton Faulkner, then Passion Flower by John Gom, and the list went on and on and on. My point is that whatever inspires you to pick up your instrument and play it, play that, because it's that passion that's going to keep you coming back to your instrument again and again and again, and ultimately, that's going to make you a better musician. Number 2, focus your practice around what you want to play and not what you feel like you should be playing. Do you want to learn to play guitar like Stevie Ray Vaughan? Then why are you learning advanced jazz harmony? Do you just want to learn a few simple chords to play along with the songs on the radio? Then why are you learning the minor scale in sixths? These days, especially with the wealth of information available to aspiring musicians, it can be all too easy to get overwhelmed learning things that have no bearing on your musical journey at this point in time. If there's a certain song or type of music that you want to learn how to play, make sure you're practicing things that are going to help you learn that. This isn't to say that learning other types of songs and techniques isn't helpful, but if you're learning them because you feel like you should and not because you want to learn them, then you're never going to get as much benefit out of what you're practicing as you would if you can genuinely see how it's going to help you achieve what you want to achieve musically. Personally, I love blues, country, bluegrass, acoustic fingerstyle, and acoustic singer-songwriters. And so if I sit down to play the guitar and I'm not learning repertoire or a set list for a gig, I'm going to practice things that are going to get me better at playing the music I love and not things that I feel like I should be learning just for the sake of learning them. Again, this keeps me motivated and makes me want to come back to the instrument again and again and again, and makes the whole process of practicing a lot more enjoyable. Number 3, don't practice what you can play, practice what you can't play, and refine, refine, refine. Now this is an old cliche, but I want to give you a concrete example so you can really see what I mean. So I've been working on a song called Endless Road by Tommy Emmanuel, and the introduction's given me a bit of trouble. So I can play about 80% of the introduction just fine. But if I play the whole introduction around and around and around, I'm not really zoning in on the 20% that I can't play, and so I'm not really getting any better at playing the introduction. So if I really want to get better at playing this song, I need to focus in on the 20% of the introduction that I can't play, so I can fold it back into the 80% that I can, and then I can feel a lot more comfortable playing the whole introduction. Say I give myself 10 minutes to practice this song in a day. If I spend those 10 minutes focusing on the 20% that I can't play, I could spend 5 times longer working on something that I struggle with, as opposed to spending 80% of the time mindlessly playing through something I can already do, and just 20% focusing on something I can't. Number 4, Play because you want to play and not because you feel like you should. I think this is probably the most important piece of advice I can offer. Sometimes I practice for 8 hours a day and I wonder where the time goes. But I know these days are an exception to the rule and not the norm. And so forcing myself to practice for 8 hours a day would be completely pointless because I know I'd end up hating the instrument and probably never picking it up again. Sometimes I only practice for an hour a day and I feel like the time is really dragging. If I'm having a day like this where I'm really struggling for whatever reason, I'd much rather leave practice for that day so that I've got a positive memory associated with picking up the guitar as opposed to a negative one. That way, I'm much more likely to come back tomorrow and want to play as opposed to having forced myself to practice for another 2 hours and then dreading coming back the next day to pick the guitar up because I've got a load of negative emotions associated with it. Being able to create, play, and enjoy music is a privilege that not everyone has the free time or the money to be able to do, and that's exactly how it should be treated, as a privilege to be enjoyed and not as an obligation to be fulfilled. So those were 4 things to think about the next time you sit down to practice your instrument. If you found this video useful, it would mean the world if you could give it a like, subscribe to the channel and push the notification bell so you stay up to date with any new content that's coming out. And if you're feeling really generous, head over to www.patreon.com/LKGguitar and consider becoming a patron, where you can contribute to me making even more content like this to help you along your musical journey to becoming the best musician you can be. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.